Hi, I'm John Rampton with Search Engine Journal, here with Chris Boggs from Internet Marketing Ninjas and Sempo. How's it going?
Doing great, John. How are you today?
Doing all right. Wanted to talk about clients. You guys have a lot of clients. You work with a lot of clients, but what do you do when a client goes dark? Like, you haven't heard from them in a while. They're still paying their bills, or maybe not paying their bills, but what do you do when they go dark?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, and certainly something that I'm sure agencies as well as consultants have dealt with. When you talk about a client going dark as per se, and you specifically mentioned that they're still paying the bills, that could become a little bit tricky. So you're wondering, well, maybe you're delivering on a regular service for them. For example, I would imagine in the sanitation industry, clients go dark until the end of the year when it's time for them to be, renewed for the following year. I think that hopefully search and social and digital marketing, in most cases that's not the case, because you're probably going to have a problem sort of restarting that conversation. And I think that's the key point, right? Is that the longer you go dark, probably the longer it's going to get, or to go with restarting the conversation. I mean, I would wonder, again, if the client's happy and the money's coming in, you take the risk then of maybe opening up the wrong or maybe just reminding them that they've been meaning to cancel with you, but you also are taking the risk of the missed opportunity potentially of being able to grow the business and do more with the client, because if you're talking to them every month or so, which in some cases or a lot of cases is enough, but going dark for some people too might mean like they haven't talked to the client in a week. Oh my God, I talk to this client every day, right? So everyone's
so if I go dark, what can I do? Like, what do you recommend? Do you recommend following up with, hey, this is the cool things that are happening in your account, or how do you recommend going about that?
Well, I've been fortunate to work with some amazing account type people. Jan Van Adderstein's one at Internet Marketing Ninjas. I've worked with Todd Hall and some. I mean, there's people that I've worked with over the years that really have a sort of a golden touch and a Midas ability to be able to keep those communications going on. And in the case where there may be a dark period, it kind of is a pick right back up and running at full speed when it happens, right? So it all comes down to how well you're equipped to handle the client, right? And either as a consultant or as an agency, you need to have that skill set. And then I think obviously the mitigation of the dark period, any losses that could have occurred there will happen much more rapidly if you've already had that established relationship, right? If the client goes dark after 2 months of talking to them and you haven't had a chance to really develop a friendship, it's going to be hard if it's 3 months later and you want to try to pick them.
You're screwed.
Yeah. I would agree. That's a great way to great synopsis.
So what happens when they just haven't paid their bills? What do you recommend? Like, what email do you send to them? They're still they haven't paid their bill, and they kind of went dark for a couple weeks. I mean, do you just...
It really depends. So if they're in, let's say, again, we'll use the sanitation industry as an example. We'll send a couple big guys over there with some brass knuckles, and they'll understand, and that's the way, I'm just kidding. No diss on the sanitation industry, but really that, again, depends on the type of client. I mean, also... what historically has the client done, and how have you arranged the financial structure, right? So net 30s, net 60s or whatever have a tendency for that to happen more often. Now, if you are, and a lot of agencies in our business will actually, that's why they require that month in advance as payment, right? So essentially when you're paying July 15th or whatever, that's really for the July's work, not for June's or May's or something, right? But people get behind, and that is like any other business function, something that you have to be able to, on a personal and an individual level, work out with certain clients. We have an international client that can sometimes take longer to pay, right? But they always pay, so it's one of those things where you just get used to it, and you tell finance to not get so mad, and you move along with the relationship, hopefully.
All right. Thank you, John Rampton, Search Engine Journal. We'll see you next time.